Hey everybody, welcome back to Living in Charlotte. On this channel we go over new construction, neighborhood tours, and housing market analysis. In this episode we're going to be going over York County, and it is a very up and coming area with a lot of land left to build for those new construction houses. Recently, me and my wife Kristen went down to York to visit a new construction build for one of our clients who are relocating from Arizona. They wanted to get an update on how their house looked and how the construction was going, so we went down there and did some drone footage and some video of the inside just to give an update about how it's going. And after we did that, we drove around for a little while just to scout the area, and what we found was a lot of open space. While driving, we did find a couple new construction areas that were currently being built, so if you're interested in that, give us a call, text, or email. We can help you. But that also means there's a lot more development for that particular area down there in York. And the good news is only a 15-minute drive to Fort Mill, and if you know anything about that area, that has been booming recently, and some people might not be able to afford those houses that are there, but you can go right down the road to York and find something way more affordable. So without further ado, let's get into the video. If you've seen my videos before, you know I like to start off with some market analysis. But before we do that, I want to draw your attention just below my picture here and see all of our contact information. So whether you want to call, text, or email, if you're considering moving to the Charlotte area or even to South Carolina, go ahead and reach out. We would love to start your journey here to the Queen City. First, I want to start off with the market trends, and you can see that the median sale price is $376,685. And that is just about a 28% increase year over year. And you can see this graph down here. It was mostly going sideways for a little bit, just going up slowly. And then we've seen this big spike toward the end of last year and the beginning of this year. And it went from 321,000 for a median all the way up to 376,000. That is a substantial increase year over year in such a short period of time, but that's also because of its proximity to Fort Mill, which is only 15 minutes away, as I was talking about in the beginning of the video. So if you look at that number there, that's 376,000, and now I'm going to go over and show you Fort Mill. And the median sale price here is 503,000 over at Fort Mill. You can see the difference. So if you can't really afford Fort Mill, but you still want to be in that area of South Carolina / North Carolina, the southern part of it, then you would want to look for somewhere that might be more affordable to you. And with York only being 15 minutes away, that is a good choice for you if you need something around that 400,000 or 350,000. And I will say that the neighborhoods that we did tour, some of them were around like 300,000 for new builds if you're interested in that. And the next number we're going to go over here is number of homes sold, and you can see that it is 16 and down about 24% for the year. This is a pretty big spike downward because back in August last summer we had about 40, and then it's been steadily going down ever since. That's kind of like the heartbeat of real estate. It was toward the end of summer, went into fall, so typically you're going to see those numbers drop, and we should be seeing that number go back up here shortly as we're getting into the spring season. And the next number we're going to look at here is median days on market, which is 67. It's down year over year, and you can see that for a while there it was going up, up, and up, and the peak was about 109 days, and now we've kind of stabilized right around that 60 to 70 day mark. Here in Charlotte, we can normally see anywhere between 30 and 40 days is typical, but since this is a newer area with not as many houses on the market and a lot of new builds, some of these are on the market for a little bit longer than you normally see, but still, all in all, 67 days is not that bad for this type of market. The next number we're going to look at here is sale to list price, and you can see it's just below 100% at 99.9%. So that means whatever people are listing their house for is basically what they're getting. And you can see from this graph here that for a while we were right around 100%. It did dip back down in November of 2023 to the lowest point at 96.7%, but then it has been going up ever since then. And the next stat kind of correlates with that, homes sold above list price. You can see for a while there it was on a downward trend, spiked back up back in April of 23, and then kind of went down for a little while. But now that we're seeing the spring market come back around, it's going to jump back up there. And also, people are finally starting to discover that York County is very attractive for its proximity to Fort Mill and other things in that area, and it's very reasonably priced. The last stat I'm going to go over here is homes with price drops. You can see it's 40%. Back in December of 23, it was around 13.3%, and it has spiked up. More people were getting antsy and just wanted to get their houses sold, so they probably just lowered the prices, and that's why we see that spike there. I did want to add that all this information is on redfin.com, so if you're interested in a certain area or your particular area, you can just go to redfin.com, type in your zip code, and you can find all this information. And the last thing I want to point out before we go on to our next stat is the housing market, how hot it is. And this is a range between 1 and 100 right here. And this is about halfway, about 47% or 47. And you can see that number is probably going to tick up more as we get into spring, because a lot more builders are actually over there in York and more are going to be coming. And that means that once those start going in, they'll put more businesses there. And like I said, it being so close to Fort Mill makes it very attractive. This next stat here is just kind of fun. You can see where people are moving from and then where they're moving to when they leave, like the Charlotte, North Carolina area. And you can see a lot of people are moving from New York, Washington, Los Angeles, Chicago, San Francisco. A lot of those places have high taxes or high house payments. So for the amount of house that you can get in those locations, you can get that at a pretty steep discount if you were going to move to the Charlotte area. So that's why a lot of people come from those big city areas, because they can get more bang for their buck in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. And while we're talking about that, when people leave, most of the time, since Charlotte is about 3 hours or so from the nearest beach, a lot of times people think of Charlotte and they think of the beach. Well, we do have a little bit of a trek to get to the beach. So some people just come here, realize that, and then they want the beach life. So then they go to Myrtle Beach. In Asheville, North Carolina, there is the mountains, which we are about 3 hours away from the mountains. So if you're looking for any of those things, Charlotte is like a good central spot. But if you actually want to live and experience those day in and day out, you're going to want to go to Myrtle Beach or Asheville in the mountains. And that's something we can help you with as well. Another thing I like to show you all is the map. And you can see here where York is in relation to Charlotte. And we're going to go ahead and zoom in here and take a look. Okay, and as you can see right here is York. And if you look just to the east, you can see Fort Mill, Indian Land, TKK, Lake Wylie. All these things are not that far from you. And then Charlotte is right up here. And like I said before, it is about a 45 minutes to an hour drive, depending on traffic. So really you have access to all these things. And if you can't afford what Fort Mill is going for, and even TKK, Lake Wylie we know is expensive, York is a very good option for you. But I like to show these maps just so you can see what you're close to and what you would be around if you actually lived in York County. Alright, so now let's take a peek at some of the recently sold homes in and around York. So this one here was listed at $330,990 and went under asking at $336,990. So it did go slightly under, and it was on the market for 164 days, and that would be a 3-bed, 2.5 bath, just about 2,000 square feet. So if that's something that you're looking for, if that would meet your needs, this would be about the price that you would pay. Moving on to the next one, this one's a little bit smaller, 3-bed, 2-bath, just under 1,200 square feet. This was on the market for 27 days and actually went a little bit over list price, about $3,000 over. And now we're going to look at this one here. This one is actually one of the more expensive ones in the area. It's a 3-bed, 2.5 bath, just under 3,000 square feet. This was on the market for 174 days and went slightly under asking at $890,000. But this is a very massive property. The next one over here is 3-bed, 2-bath, 3,200 square feet. This one basically went for asking price and it only took 44 days. So you can see the big variation of houses and prices that you can see. It's all about pricing your home accordingly, and then you will get the right buyers to come in. But these are just some examples that if you're looking for a house, this is what they're going for in and around the York area. Schools we don't go over too much on here. You can see the list of schools here that are in York County. We also have a lot of private and public schools. So if that's something that you're interested, you can go ahead and reach out to Kristen and I, and we can send you some resources so you can make the best decision for you and your family going forward. And one more thing, my wife did do a video on this, and I will post it up in the corner there. So if you're interested in that, you can click on that and see some of the best schools around the area. And next, I want to go over weather with y'all. When you think about Charlotte, North Carolina, you think about the South, you think about the heat, and you think about all that goes along with that. Well, I'm here to tell you that basically there's only 2 months out of the year, usually July, August, sometimes going into September, where you're going to kind of be in your house with the air conditioning running nonstop, because those 2 or 3 months during that time are going to be kind of oppressive, little bit warm, high humidity. You'll walk outside and you feel like you just got out of the shower. So what a lot of people do is they wake up early and get their chores done, their yard work done early, or they do it when the sun is setting in the evening, and that way it makes it so you can still get stuff done outside. You can still go for your walks, you can still cut your grass, you can still trim your bushes, whatever you need to do, without getting melted by that summer heat that we have going on here. Another question we get all the time is hurricanes. North Carolina doesn't typically get hit with too many hurricanes. It has been a while since one has directly hit us from the coast. Most of the time what happens is they come up from the Gulf, run through Florida, and run up our way. We do get a lot of rain and some severe weather when that does happen, so you got to be prepared for that. But typically, if a hurricane did come off the coast, we are more inland. Like I said, we're like 3 hours from the beach, so if that did happen, we would be having some issues with flooding and some severe weather, but nothing like what the coastal areas would be dealing with. And lastly, since we went over the real estate information and the weather and all that good stuff, now we're going to focus on what you can actually do if you do decide to move to York County. You'll be probably about 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes away from Carowinds, which is a great amusement park there. Tons of rides, so much stuff to do, and you're just about a little over an hour or so, depending on traffic, from Charlotte, North Carolina. So if you have to work there, or if you just want to visit up there, go to a Panthers game or something like that, you can do that as well. And on the screen here is a few things that you can actually do in York, South Carolina, if you decide to visit there or move there. So you can see number 1 on the list is Windy Hill Orchard and Cider Mill, the Peachtree Orchard, McCleavely Center, which is actually, I haven't been there, but I've heard some good things about it. It's like a historical theater, so I would definitely check that out if you do decide to visit York. And you can scroll down the rest of the list here and see all the activities that you can do while you're in York, South Carolina. And it's a good bit of stuff here. All I did was I went to tripadvisor.com and searched York, and all this stuff popped up for it. Well, that's all I got for today's video. If you found value in it, please like, subscribe, comment, and share with your friends and family if they're thinking about moving to the Charlotte, North Carolina area. Please don't hesitate to reach out. We would love to help you. But that's all I got, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Bye.